Corn School is brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
This is Ken Curra, market development agronomist with Pride Seeds, and I'm here in one of our test plots just on the east side of London on Highway 2. Fantastic looking test plot for the most part. We're seeing a few of the ills of the spring coming ahead, which I'm going to talk about a bit. So in our last video, we also talked about needing a tender June. Well, here we are at the end of June, and it's been just about what I would love to have seen for the corn crop, save for the discussion about east of Brantford in the Niagara area, where that's a totally different sidebar discussion down there, where they're really challenged by drought conditions and poor emergence. But for the most part of my zone, corn crop looks really, really good. We're seeing some stress in the sand plain and the gravel areas, even in some of the better areas later in the day where we see some onion leafing, etc. But no real discoloration of the corn yet, or that yellowing or browning off that really indicates suffering due to drought. But corn yield really is all about roots. And here's what we'd love to have on June the 25th. And shake a little bit of soil off of that. You can see nice big corn plant here, well on its way in the rapid growth phase. It's rocketing towards the tassel stage. Nice root system on it. And what do I mean by a tender June, or pretty close to perfect June? We've had just enough rain in this area to keep these plants going. And they're throwing down roots. They're finding their way. We noticed yesterday signing this test plot, if those of you that follow me on Twitter, this ground is tremendously hard, right from 0 to 12, 16 inches. And again, that's a symptom of the cold, the damp conditions down below in the spring. But these roots are holding soil, they're holding moisture, developing a nice root frame to it, and they're pushing that corn plant right along. We all love to have that here at the end of June. And in the same area, we also have some traffic patterns from last year's wheat harvest. So the act of bringing the grain out with the buggies to the headland, and perhaps hauling straw out as well. We see a stunted plant, so we do that comparison right there. We see a stunted plant, we get the shovel out, we do a root dig, and stunted roots that way, but we look at it in this direction, and we see that hatchet root. Those roots are growing up right along the furrow. They're not getting spread out away from the furrow and developing that nice frame to keep that plant pushing along with the rest of the crop. We also see, if you look closely, a lot of kinked roots here. And when you see that root kinking, some people will mistake that for chemical damage, herbicide damage, but that's just simply compaction. And those roots really trying to find cracks and wormholes, etc., to get down in and do some work on behalf of that plant. It can become even worse. Here's a smaller plant again. And by the way, when we look at all three of these, our planting date is within 2 or 3 days of each other on very similar soil types and similar rotations, so you can see some quite startling differences coming up. This again is an area that was a little bit damper, had a little bit more competition from a cover crop that needed to get killed a little bit sooner, and we see that hatchet root again. Sideways, frame looks decent, okay, whatever, but you can see that growing up along the furrow. One of the real signs of this problem is when you walk into the field and you can actually see the furrow baked open, which was the case here. And then we get into something, now this is obviously a later planted crop. This was after first cut alfalfa. But again, what I'm seeing this year because of the drought conditions, we have this small stunted plant planted the end of May for a silage crop into alfalfa after it's been harvested, and we're really seeing that with those green crops or those cover crops, they needed to be killed off plenty early, and I'm starting to develop the opinion that this is really where zone till and strip till is fitting in to try to remove some of that plant competition and give a corn plant a better chance than what it's suffering through here. So again, the ills of the year, some of the things that we've gotten away with the last couple of years, we're not getting away with this year. Now that all sounds very negative, but at the end of the day, in my territory from Hensel to St. Thomas to about Brantford, there's a whole lot of corn that looks like this. That's fantastic. We do really need a rain across the entire territory right now, would spruce things up. We can see that in other crops that are having a difficult time, particularly wheat. And you know, but by and large, we're happy here. This plant is healthy, it's digging hard, it's sucking up water and nutrients, and it's building yield. So pretty happy with what I see.